Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Tech Talk Friday. My name is Roshan Thiran, and looking forward to spending another Friday with you this special day. So it's 6 p.m. And as always, every Friday today, we have two special guests. We have CS Chin from SMEs Malaysia and also from RentSmart. We've got Indran, who will be joining us shortly. And as always, I have my partner in crime, Karamjit Singh, who's, I think, in meditative prayer now. So Karam, can we take you out of your trance? Can we center you now and let's start? We have just started and we've just gone live on Tech Talk Friday for your information. And I know we've got two fantastic guests that will be joining us shortly, Karam. So as you slowly move yourself from your, whatever you call that.
I am now officially elevated. Okay.
All right. So now we have an elevated Karam who will be joining us today. So how exciting is that to have an elevated Karam on Tech Talk Friday? So with that, Karam, you want to talk a little bit about the show we have today. We have both CS Chin from SME Association and also Indran, who will be joining us shortly, two guests. And as always, Karam only invites men. It's his mantra, men, men, men. So we'll try and get more ladies on the show. And I already see the Plondits and the fans are in. CS and Indran, welcome from a fan. And I think today I was on a call with somebody from Belgium, and I didn't know. And she said I've been I've been watching Tech Talk all the time, and from Belgium. And she said she wanted to catch up with me. So I said, okay. And she said, let's meet at 2 p.m. And I said, no, let's meet at 1. And then I didn't realize it's like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. for her. But she did it. And she said, look, I'd love to come and talk about, I watch Tech Talk every week from Belgium. So there we have a fan from Belgium. And of course, our good friend Shaji was on our show a couple of weeks ago. He says great lineup. So that's a testament to Karam and his digging for unearthing great talent to come on our show. So Karam, who do we have and who's first on our list?
First, a quick shout out to Shaji and his partner, because they aspire to be the operating system, right, for retail shopping, on presence of physical shopping. They want to be the OS for the card system. Fantastic statement of intention there. Good luck to them. Okay, now
so we also have, I want to shout out to Tracy Zhao from Belgium, who watches us for Proloy, and for many others who watch us from Spain and other European countries. Although it's a very Southeast Asian centric show, but we're gonna try and make it a little bit broader and bigger than that. So one of these days we'll have a guest from Europe and hopefully one day from America. But with that, Karam, we have CS Chin joining us. Talk to us about CS.
So CS has been in the tech ecosystem for a long time, a veteran. And he was at one point the president of PCOM also, which is the National ICT Association of Malaysia. So very smartly for Dato' Michael Kang, who's the president of the SME Association of Malaysia, when CS left PCOM, he finished his term, Michael tapped him to be in the SME Association, the National Association, and appointed him as to be their ICT head, right? And also now he has actually become the deputy president. So CS is eminently well suited to comment on the role of IT with the brick and mortar world. And specifically, I've invited him. See, I forgot to put my phone on silent mode, so it's ringing in the background. Sorry about that.
But no, we can't hear it. Don't worry.
Okay, good. CS is eminently suitable and competent to comment on My Digital, which is Malaysia's national digital economy blueprint, to comment on the SME portion, because the government has aspired to upskill 850,000 SMEs and micro SMEs, right? I spoke to CS earlier, and he actually told me something I didn't know, which I should have known about. This 850,000 target is already an existing target by Penjana, which is the accelerating the economy recovery, right? Introduced in March or April last year. So it's something already there. He said they just tapped it on, because it's an ongoing initiative. You further try to give it a bit more momentum. But there are some concerns, from some parties concerned, and I asked CS to come tell us now, how does the SME Association view the plan, specifically where it concerns SMEs, and what they feel is lacking, and how they think they can play a role. So, CS,
welcome to our show. And I think you are in a very location somewhere. I hear you are in between some special things. So I'll leave you in the good hands of our buddy Karam to grill you on. So CS, welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about your views on this whole My Digital initiative.
Thanks, Rosham, and thanks, Karamjit. I think all of us are equally been not say shocked in in quite a state of not so much of a clear because of the sudden announcement by the PM. He's talking about My Digital. It caught us all by surprise to a certain extent, right? And then I think a lot of us are not really get involved, directly or indirectly. And of course, to a certain extent, the government have also engaged with the association, especially like the SME association, but the engagement wasn't that good enough. I believe
and
even
a long time ago,
right. Even PCOM alone is not been really consulted or even engaged. To me, that is what I know, and you can see that this time, as a whole, the whole My Digital vision or mission or whatever they want to achieve from the blueprint, I totally agree with it. It's time for us to really embark into doing something, good for our nation. We have to make Malaysia in the regional map in terms of the connectivity into 5G. We supposed to, I'm OC for WCIT 2020. When we have it 2 years ago, some KKMM personnel have committed to us by July last year, we should have some 5G implementation. Really into Penang as well, so that we have WCIT. That's why WCIT was supposed to help in 2020 in September.
Yes.
Right. But we didn't manage because of a pandemic, but also the 5G wasn't there, right?
Understood.
Ready for us to use. Okay. I think there are many challenges to implement this. Number one, for us, the SME, what we care about is first thing, how can I be connected if I move around? SME move around. There's a many SME whole country. Even the 4G, we face a lot of issue, right? And a lot of place, a blind spot is there. We make even comment every time we make a lot of noise. We also say that even on the fixed line, they are still not there in a lot of places, especially in the industrial area. Because Malaysia is very funny. We have SME doesn't go to the big industrial area. They probably, you see them, one in Kepong, remote area, the other one probably in Jinjiang, the other one probably in Ululangat. No, that's common, very common, right? Because they're trying to save costs. They're trying to save costs. So a lot of these places are not been equipped with the fiber. You can't even get internet there.
Okay.
The one very good example is Julie Biscuit. Julie Biscuit built its own big factory in Malacca. Julie is very huge. They took $1 billion business.
One of the largest food manufacturers in the country, correct?
And they are so difficult for them to get a fiber link to their new premises, new factory.
In Malacca.
So this in Malacca itself. So these are the things that we face. But of course, the government trying to help. There is initiative under KKMM. The matching investment into putting fiber to Telecom Malaysia to full unify. Telecom pay 1 million, they will pay 1 million. Even that deployment is very slow.
Wow. So even with the Ministry of Communication, KKMM, for those listening, is Malaysia's Ministry of Communication. Even with them willing to put in half the money for a fiber installation to a large manufacturing facility, even then it's slower.
Right. So that's why I come back to this 5G. The 5G expenditure, especially the spending, it's not going to come from government. It's going to come from telcos. It's very clearly stated that, of course, there are some investment or also mainly on the main company they set in SPV to get the main connectivity. Yeah. So, but beside that, the rest of infrastructure down the country, down the road will be installed by the telcos. If the telco is not willing to put it there, and how can we achieve what we want to achieve? Number one. Number two, it takes 10 years to build a 5G in our plan. One, do you think it's too long? Right? 6G is coming out. And if it takes long to reach 5G, then it doesn't make Malaysia a challenge, a good location for any other foreign direct investment. So these are the concerns that we have on our end. And then back to you were mentioned about the SME, 875,000 SME. And then try to help digitize. That is already on the way. There is already have MDEC, a digital grant. All those have been trying to help the SME, and we noted that now a lot of SME will start taking up the grant, but the deployment, the slowness, the approval process is tedious. So even you have a huge money there. You look at it, the digital transformation grant that is the 10,000 max is 1-to-1. that has not been fully utilized. It's still there.
Oh, the 10,000.
The money is still there.
2,000. That's 2,500 US. Okay, so that's not been fully utilized. Drawn down now. Okay.
Yeah, drawn down. It's a lot of issue there. Okay, of course, we can't solely blame the person who run it. There is two. It's run by MDEC or even Bank Simpanan Nasional, but also funding may be another issue. We don't know. So looking at that, as usual, when the big plan like this come out, we always have the question: is involved so many agency? This, it is even our Prime Minister say is whole nation get involved. The whole nation get involved. It's effort of everybody. And right now, the effort of the government agency is the most important. If they are not going to be more effective, or even they are slow, how can we achieve? Number one. Number two, some of the target they set are not too, to me, not too make sense. Doesn't make sense. Like you have already household penetration to have internet with 91% in 2019. That's stated in their blueprint. But they say they need until 2025 to have 100% coverage in all households. So there's another 4 years down the road. Why take that long?
Okay.
And you are talking about having 5G going to cover the whole nation. This is likely impossible, because there are a lot of places you really can't go. 5G is very short. Very short. The repeater you need is just half a kilometer. You need one. So the telcos will never want to invest. Right? Though the effort is good, the initiative will be fine, but we need, to me, we need really a minister or two ministers jointly who are mainly involved to push. If you're going to live up to the same engine, the same mechanism that government move, it doesn't work, right? Because we can even see that some of the initiative driven by MDEC before. One of the very good example is DFTZ. It wasn't big good enough to move. It was slow. Because there are a lot of challenges they face. They probably face a challenge with custom. They probably face the challenges with immigration. All those things come into play, but no one take the head up to solve the issue. And when change of government, change of people, that'll be worse. Change of KSN, you change of the chairman of any agency, then there's another issue we face. So that I think that we have to solve before we talk so big on getting all these things in there. So
it feels like you've got lots of issues there the association is not happy with. Now, are you forceful with the government to say that you've introduced this now new blueprint, which has got some components of existing plans, which is smart to do. You don't want to replicate, right? What if? And you said that the PwC, which helped the government come up with the plan, did not consult or have discussions with you all, which to me is quite glaring. So you must be wondering what's going on. Why were we not made a key partner of this, or at least the SME 800,000 digitization, right? Accelerating. Why were you all not in any keys, committees to push that? And I know you're saying that you're concerned that there were no benchmarks, that were assigned so that we can then monitor progress towards the benchmarks, right? So is that something that concerns you also?
You see, that is part of it as well. But the major issue now we really face is that sometimes doesn't mean they don't consult you. Today MDEC come to me. Tomorrow another agency come to us. But who is the main guy who really in charge? That's number one. And then I don't know where MDEC stand today in the blueprint. I don't know how much they are involved. You look at the whole, the digitization roadmap of My Digital. There are many agencies involved. Even you can see that Mampu also involved, right? Which is good. Like the day I have a question as well for some of the people who talk to me. I say we are creating 105,000 jobs when the 5G come out. I don't know why 105,000. I don't know where to get a number. It's okay. It's great. It's a great idea. Okay? I allow that. I will want to support that. But the issue is we do not have enough digital talent. Right? We don't have enough digital talent to take on the jobs. We have this issue all the way. And we need MOF or even other local university to really set up a real good courses and attract the local talent to take some courses that are relevant to the ICT industry or the digital industry. So there are many issues we face. So to set the 10 years, what they call a target a time frame to achieve this is relatively, to me, it's relatively tough. If the rest of the agency are not going to get involved and putting their full effort over it, right? So it's not that we're not happy with what government doing. Government is trying to do something, but the people running it have to be more, attentive and then more serious about what they want to achieve.
Okay. More engaged lah. Okay, yeah. That is a key concern I've been hearing also, because there is two parts to the plan, right? You've got the national initiatives, which are very much public sector driven, 48. Then you've got about 20 plus, which are sectoral initiatives, and these are the four verticals they've chosen, right? You've got the FMCG sector. You've got you've got agri-tech also, right? Agriculture. So manufacturing is one. So there's the combination of the two. But I think in the public sector, the urgency, right? The sleepless nights, to get this done, and why is it not moving, and the benchmarks not set there. That's a concern, but it's a concern shared by many. In fact, just now today at 3:00 there was a discussion on Clubhouse, of course, right, the new hot platform, and I don't know how many people involved, just talking about the blueprint, and it's a 3-part discussion, so they'll have 2 more conversations around that. So at least here at DNA and with Tech Talk, we're happy that lots of people are concerned and want to be involved, right? And it seems like people want to be part of the process. They don't just want to lean back and say, okay, let the government tell us what is their progress. They've come up with this, now give us the progress, we'll accept. I think people don't want that. They want to be an active player in this. So let's see how it's continually shaped. And I hope that, the SME Association is a strong partner and demands to be a partner, right? So we want to see at the table, which minister is the key minister, right? Or like you said, 2 ministers, fine. Which 2 ministers can we direct call and bug at midnight because we're not happy, something moving too slow, meeting postponed or whatever, or this legislation still waiting in Parliament or whatever. Of course, now Parliament is not meeting also. That's another issue. Let's not go there yet. But you got to know whose life you can make miserable when your members are not happy and they make your life miserable. CS, right?
Right.
Hey, what's
true?
Okay. That's good. Interesting. Good. I know you are. So for those sound, so his camera is bobbing because he's on his phone. He's about to enter dinner, so he's agreed to just give us 15 minutes of his time before it goes in.
Great.
Really appreciate that. CS, thanks very much. Right.
Thank you.
With that,
Thank you.
We will let you go. Unless Roshan, Roshan, you got any key question you want to ask, or
we usually make our guests go through a quick quiz, CS. So maybe very, very quickly, I can ask you a couple of very quick questions, right? So maybe just 5 questions I want to ask you, Okay, it's called a Test Your Guess Challenge, right? So CS, I know you're in the IT industry in PCOM and everything. What is the most interesting Wi-Fi password that you've ever seen?
Most interesting Wi-Fi password. The Wi-Fi password that I've seen is really interesting. Is they have all the numbers inside there, okay? And I have to type key in reading 3 times before I get it accurate. So I won't say interesting, it's difficult.
It's not difficult. Okay, so to you that's interesting. Okay, so we understand what kind of person CS is. CS, what's the coolest thing about yourself?
What's the coolest thing about myself? I love people. I like to chat around. That's the coolest part of me because I can speak a lot if you sit down with me for a long time. I can't be a quiet person, but I'm a very quiet person in a way. But if you drink, I talk a lot more.
Okay, so man of contradiction and drinks all problems. So thumbs up or thumbs down in one sentence. How would you sum up the My Digital initiative?
I still give the thumbs up, but the thumbs down will be on the implementation. That one is we need to see how they're going to do it.
Okay.
For the initiative, My Digital is a good idea anyway.
Okay, and for you, I'm only going to keep it to 4 questions. So I'm going to ask you my final question, and this one I think because of all your years' experience, I think will be very interesting. What is the funniest corporate or business screw up that you've ever heard of or you know of?
Funniest corporate screw up. Very quick, very fast. You ask me. Not really. I have, but probably the corporate screw up I have met probably is one of my friend company. He bought a company. PN17 company. He spent 20 million. PN17 company. He spent 27 million. Okay, put in the company, and he has no control of the company. And as today, he's running missing, and somebody else running the company for him, and his money is stuck there. He can't even get back, and the company is still PN17 in the main board.
Almost $7 million US. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to end with this quick question from Shaji, one of our guests. Do Malaysian SMEs suffer from an addiction to cheap labor, foreign labor, that they don't see an urgency to adopt technology? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes and no. Depends which sectors are they in. If they are really labor incentive, of course, they always want to use a cheap labor. right? But now because of pandemic, I think there are a lot of changes. I've seen even, not say meet 40 to 50 years old ladies, they are working very hard to embrace themselves into digitization. They even learn. They even call me every time. Can you tell me what is this all about? Can you tell me what it's about? The difference is that now. Those years they won't even bother.
Yeah.
So there are changes. There are changes coming up.
Okay.
The SME is different now. In fact, to be true.
Nice.
Okay.
Good to know. Good to know.
No, that's a good, interesting perspective. So, CS, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll send you off your drinks because we know that that is what enables him to thrive.
He's not drinks, his dinner. He's got a dinner appointment. He's stepping into
dinner. And I think if you want him animated and talking and letting go of all the secret or the other big corporate screw ups that he knows of, or interesting Wi-Fi passwords, give him a couple of drinks and CS will be all at it. So CS, thank you so much. We appreciate our time. Any more questions? In the comment section below, just shoot the questions. We're gonna come back with Indran in a bit. Apologies, Indran. Too many. I think I might need a drink to calm my nerves. Karam, I didn't go into my tranquil.
No, you didn't center yourself. I'm very disappointed.
I needed to do that before the show. So maybe I need to learn from Karam on how to keep myself centered and in tranquility, so that when the show starts, all will be well. We'll take a 30-second break, and we'll be right back right after this break. But to take a break, we're going to talk a little bit about during this break, we're going to see a little bit about what we call Insight Day, technology and CSR. So for those of you who want to learn about how technology can drive CSR forward, Connie Lee and Wahida Hasbullah are going to be running a show via Zoom, I think on the 23rd of March, and you can check it out I don't see a link, and maybe if there's a link, our producer can share a link, but that's going to be something very interesting. In fact, MDAC is now driving all their camps. Okay, there's a registration link there, very long registration link, so maybe you can check it in the social media feed, in LinkedIn and so on. You can check it out, where how do you strengthen CSR with technology. So that's upcoming. And I'm going to share a little bit where AirAsia, ECM Libra, and a number of other companies basically is doing CSR with technology by touching youths in Malaysia through camps and through technology-based things. Mandak also runs this through the program called the Ninja, or the Digital Ninja program, a technology-based program to help drive CSR among communities. So with that, let's take a quick break and check out Spark 2020.
Hi campers, welcome to Spark Camp 2020. My name's Darren.
And I'm Ben.
And we are your coordinators for Spark 2020. Woo! Campers, are you ready?
Malaysia itself is very hot, but what is going to happen here and how do you survive?
You can be mentored by people who aren't alive.
100%. They say we die twice. Once when the breath leaves our body, and once when the last person we know says our name.
Okay, in an angry tone.
Okay.
Oh, I'm scared now. Fine, in a happy tone.
Fine.
I'd like to thank Leaderomics for running this camp, because they also have a never give up attitude, because it's very easy to say, it's COVID, let's not do the camp. But Leaderomics team is very creative and very willing to try new things.
Okay, well done all of you. All of you actually deserve to be champions. I wouldn't have asked for better teammates. You guys are still the best. Whatever you guys are doing, I know you guys are leaders in your own way as well. So yes, thank you guys.
I really appreciate this Spark Camp, each and every moment.
The fact that you guys are just so amazing, Ben, Darren, all the passive. You guys made it so good that I just thought that if it's physical camp, it would have been, my God, magnificent.
I hope that this isn't the end of our journey and we could continue to keep working together as a team.
I really want to appreciate all the faces effort because I can really see all the faces effort. I see they are trying hard to make this camp fine because this is our first virtual camp, right? I really want to thank all the faces for their effort.
1, 2, 3, Spark 2020!
Welcome back to Tech Talk Friday, and we're talking about CSR and how we can use technology. I mean, nobody ever believed that technology will be a possibility in CSR. Karam, welcome back. And today we have Indran, who will be joining us shortly. Karam, we're going to talk a little bit about his organization. And maybe, Karam, you can share a little bit about Indran and give us a bit of a rundown on his background.
Yeah, still a young man. I mean, he's 42 now, so he started RentSmart in... The idea, he said, came in early 2018. But he launched it in 2019, so it took a while for it to gestate. At that point, he had like maybe 19 years of experience working in the corporate world. What is impressive is that he did his diploma and then he came out and started working, Roshan, and then he also did he got his degree and his master's while working, so he did it part time. And anyone who has tried that, that it takes incredible mental discipline and hunger for knowledge, right, to be able to manage the two. So kudos to him, because I know doing that is not easy. He actually did it twice, right, to get his degree, then did his master's. Yes. And he's been working. So he's a technical guy, engineer, and also he's done like project management also. So he's got the the EQ and IQ. And he says that has helped him maybe to approach his startup, right, in a more holistic manner.
So
entrepreneurs like to solve a pain point. So this pain point was actually his company called RentSmart, which is a e-commerce, maybe a rental platform, right? Fully insured, which is very important. Because he at one point paid $600 US. I'm going to use US dollars more, Roshan, because we've got people not from Malaysia also listening, right? So it's 2,500 Malaysian ringgit, but $600 US to use a product only one time for a bicycle. Because he's an avid biker, he was outstationed or overseas somewhere. He had to buy something to use, never used it, and threw it away in a corner somewhere, only to find out that a friend of his had the same thing. He could have ordered it. So that was the pain point. He said, hey, others must be in the same situation. Let me solve this. So that's why he's on the show today. He's been doing it for 2.5 years now.
Fantastic. Welcome to the show, Indran. Really, really excited to hear your story and excited to hear. I realize you are trying to grow a beard like Karam. So it seems like all of our guests have this let's try to be like Karam thing going on. But tell us your story. Tell us how you got to where you got to.
Yeah, so just like what Karam mentioned, it really started from this experience where I end up buying something that's used only short term. And you think about it, right? There's a lot of us, we have things. You open up your drawers, open up the cupboards, right? Go to your storage rooms, your storerooms and stuff, and you start looking at all these things that you have accumulated over time, and a lot of it is doesn't really have much value to you. Yeah. And it can be used, it can be shared with somebody else. You can do it pro bono, yes, but you know what's people's biggest fear? You lend it to someone else, it comes back broken, right? So what happened is we thought about it, and then we said, you know what, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And we said, let's come up with a platform where people can, whether lend it, share it, whatever it is. It didn't make sense to lend because the typical connotation with the word lend is that, it goes out without money and then comes back and potentially is damaged. So that's why we came this whole idea of renting it. So the biggest concern with renting something is you end up setting a really high deposit. So if, for example, that same bicycle bag we were talking about, right, $600, if I was going to set a deposit, I'd probably ask for $300, right? And then for you, if you're going to rent the bicycle bag, maybe the total duration that you're going to use it, it'll cost you $100. plus the $300 deposit. You're going to part with that money. Now you're thinking, if I'm going to part with $400, between 400 and 600, I might as well just get one. Do you know that's the thing that goes through people's head, right? And then, so then after that you go, probably it's a deterrent. The deposit starts to become a deterrent to renting, even though you know you're going to get it back. Even though you're going to
get it back, yeah, correct.
Yeah, but you're parting with that money, right? So just the fact that you're parting with that money is like, that means I have that money. If I have that money, why don't I just get my own, right?
Okay.
And then of course there's things like sometimes people have things, maybe it's a sentimental value. I want to get my own just because it belongs to me. And the reality is, once you're done using it, it goes into this place that is locked up and it collects dust. So that's why we thought, you know what, we have to think of a way to do this smart. We came up with this idea of renting, allow people to just use 100 ringgit deposit, so it's really low deposit for anything. And how we protect the owners, we have insurance. So in the event the item is damaged, lost, but during the rental period, our insurance will protect the owners by indemnifying them to a maximum value of 10,000 ringgit.
Ringgit, okay, 2005 US, fine. Okay.
2005 US, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 2005 US. Okay. So that's how this idea sort of came about. And now we're beginning to find, what's interesting is we're beginning to find people using the platform, and about 25% of our customers didn't know they can rent laptops.
Oh,
and it's quite common.
Okay. Yeah. So, but when you say your customers are, I think in the article we say you pivoted from being C2C, right? Consumer, like me lending to the B2C. Where, why did you pivot so fast? I was actually disappointed with the pivot because I just coincidentally found my 21-year-old backpack that I used when I did a 3-week backpack tour in Africa. I found it. And it was locked. It was in the garage, hidden away by my wife, and I'm fully blaming her on camera. It's been cleaned 4 times now, and I'm excited. But of course, I'm not going to use it. But I don't mind renting it to someone. I'm excited with the platform. But then it's for vendors, so it's like only companies can do that. So I'm disappointed.
No. So let me clarify, right? We had the platform open for about 6 months. 6 months. And what happened? Yeah, we had from June to December, and we were trying to get the word out. What happened was peer-to-peer, the concept of renting. If I told you right now, Karam, let's go back to your backpack, right?
Okay, yeah.
How much would you rent the backpack for?
I would actually rent it for 75 ringgit, which is maybe $20 US.
$20 US. So you could come up with a number, right? So typically a lot of people can't come up with a number. They go, well, I know how much to sell it, because you can compare against Carousel, Muda, right? But when it comes to renting it, you go, well, but what's the right price?
Oh, okay.
What's the benchmark? So what happened was, of course, at that time, I didn't have a calculator on the site. The calculator wasn't developed enough yet. And so we realized that there was a bit of a challenge for people, for peer-to-peer. But the site does not limit individuals from putting things up. So, which means your backpack can still be on the site. So, yes. So the main reason why we pivoted was we wanted to try and get more products on the site. And the only way to get more products was basically to go to people who are already renting and ask them to put the stuff up on the site. And the biggest plus point for them was the ability to get their products insured in the event it's damaged. So now we have got quite a fair number of vendors using our site, just because, firstly, deposit's low, so the customers love it. They are verified customers, so they don't have to worry about taking their IC and things like that. So a customer goes in, here's your order number, RentSmart's got a handover code, you do the handover. Once you're done with that, they take the item and they go. So if there's any problem, they call RentSmart and RentSmart sorts it out.
Nice.
So the main,
So, I'm seeing a lot of, Karam, just a second, I just want to cover, because I think more comments coming in, but I see a lot of comments on people thinking, Wood from SS, and Tess actually has joined us from Belgium. So she's on the show as always every week. And she's saying,
Guten Tag. I guess that's what they mean. Is that German or
I think that's
Flemish.
So she says very smart business model and idea. And I think one thing that is interesting, she talks about the circular economy.
Exactly,
Actually, it's one of those things that is huge, especially in Europe, right? So I mean, it's I mean, talk us through this a little bit. I mean, was that a key? Is that a key marketing element that you push in terms of what you do?
He didn't because in his article he didn't use the buzzword circular economy, which he should have, I guess. So thank you, Tess, you've given him the idea.
Yes.
So then you give your ideas, and as always, Tess says, "Hey, great platform for conversation," and she wants to be part of the conversation. But
Sure.
like last week conversation, we had the chairman of MDEC on our conversation, and in the end, this Karam and him and a few others, they have a shadow government in the play now, and shadow this and shadow that. Don't know what they're doing. All kinds of funny things are happening because of TikTok. But that's what we do, lah. It's a great platform for great conversation, but some great ideas and circular economy, right? I mean, think about this. Okay, the shadow government is already in session. I think the book is coming up.
So address the question. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Indran.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, when we actually started this whole thing, right? Obviously, this idea was very common in countries like Europe, Australia, US.
Okay.
Yeah, platforms were already there. So a lot of ideas, we sort of drew inspirations from the existing platforms that were there, but it just was hardly around here, this region. So coming back to the point of being sustainable and creating a sharing economy, in the sharing economy, we're being more sustainable, and of course the circular contributing to the circular economy. That's obviously the governing point or the fundamentals of this business. It wasn't what started us, it wasn't what motivated us. It is what's driving the business today.
So insurance element because I think, Roshan, you're saying that getting the insurance element was key. Was it easy to get that? Because you seem to think that was a differentiator. Surely other competitor platforms will also want to have that insured portion in, right?
Sure. So it was very, very difficult. When I first started, I knocked on about, 10, 12 companies. Well, the first mistake I made was I went to agents. So these kind of things, agents only sell bespoke products. Non-bespoke. Yeah, non-bespoke products, right? So the first mistake I made was I went and knocked on all the insurance companies through their agents. So that was a mistake. The solution to that was I was introduced to people like brokers. They are the ones who come up with the big bespoke insurance products.
Insurance companies directly, I mean, that's another.
Correct. It's hard. It's very hard to get to insurance companies directly because our idea was small, and we were looking something like maybe 500,000 revenue for the first year, maybe a couple of million in the second. And they were like, "I'm not going to come up with a product for something so small."
Fair. The challenge all entrepreneurs face, actually, right? When when you want to go to a big company and present your idea, they'll say it's too small for us to dedicate resources to it. So how did you overcome that? Yeah.
So what happened was I actually really came to a stalemate. We went through both local and foreign brokers. We came to a stalemate, and that was
the moment of truth. Hey guys, bad idea. Let's just go back and do what we were doing before.
It sort of came to that, and we were thinking of wrapping it up. It was almost 1 year after incorporation, and so my partner and I we were draining out. We were like, you know what, maybe this is probably not going to work. Maybe this country or region. And their biggest fear was what, that Malaysians are not trustworthy enough. Okay? That's the biggest concern. And you know what, I'm just going to prove them wrong here. We have already 400 over orders and only one insurance claim for a damaged item, and it's only $500. That's the claim.
When was this? 400 items over the whole period or what?
Yeah, over the last, actually last 1 year.
Last 1 year. So you've had 400 items being rented out, and there's only been one for $125. Okay, fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's a great story, and I noticed a lot of your fans. I don't know whether they're fans or they know you, or because of the show you became a fabulous. So there's a Subhashini saying hi to you. There is a couple of others. I noticed Siva Kumar who says very proud of you, Indran. I don't know if you know these guys. But and a couple of others that are just raving about you. So good for you, man. But as you go forward, are there competitors in this space? Because I cannot. I'm sure people will be listening to this and saying, "Great idea. Let me run with this and beat you to the punchline," right?
Yeah.
Not so much Disney because Indran has already made the beachhead, right? So other insurance companies may say, hey, we missed out on that, and he doesn't want to name his insurance company, fine.
Yeah.
There may be somebody say, hey, the next guy who comes will listen to him or her because we can see that the model is gaining traction, right?
Yeah, exactly. So actually, there are other people who are willing to talk to us now because there is traction, and also we can prove the model that it works, right? So yeah, yeah. What was the question, Roshan?
Well, he's asking competitors.
Competitors. What's your next step, right, to fend them off?
Actually, in some sense, I kind of welcome them because I want them to sort of soften up the market a little.
You want maturity in the market, awareness. Yeah, correct.
Yes, exactly. There are competitors. There are two other companies. One is still kind of small, mobile app based. Another one has moved towards a SaaS model where he's just providing the rental companies a platform to feature their products. Okay. But prior to this, when we started this, there were many other Malaysian companies that started this idea. And they didn't gain traction. So it's not a new idea in Malaysia. There have been companies that came up. I did some research. You may have heard of PitchBook. We did some research. We consulted them, got some idea what are the platforms and some of the reasons are available there, why they closed down. And then we drew inspiration from Airbnb, which is where the insurance thing came up, right? And the main reason why they couldn't get it to work was the whole process of using it needs to be simple and easy. To buy something on e-commerce took 20 years, right, for it to become easy. In terms of process, it's not really changed much, but the cost of delivery has become cheaper, and the delivery is a lot faster and things like that. So now rental, right? You know what we're experiencing? We're experiencing the same revolution that e-commerce went through in terms of buying. We're seeing that in the rental space. Because now what confuses people is when you talk delivery, they go, is it just one way? But no, it's got to go back.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Indran, we always want to test you on your capability of answering things on the spot. So I'm going to do a very fast one as always. And you're going to go through the full test.
I get the same questions as CS.
No, you don't. You never get same questions. Nobody ever gets same questions on them because we are tough on our guests, and while Karam drinks his way, after meditation comes Kudi, for some of those people understand what the Kudi Karakopa is. But okay, with that, what's the weirdest smell you've ever smelled?
Fart.
Okay. And what is the most ridiculous fact you know?
You can fit a swimming pool at the back of a car.
You can? Wow. I didn't know that. Okay, that's interesting.
It is a stretch limo.
Yeah.
Okay. If in one sentence, how would you sum up Karamjit Singh?
You can pass also. You can say pass.
Oh, actually, it reminds me of Guru Nana.
Guru Nana. Right. There you go, man.
Yeah. That's the image I had.
When you start shows that way, bro, that's going to be a outcome, Okay, so what is the weirdest thing you have seen in someone else's home?
Weirdest thing I've seen in someone else's. Oh, well, actually, there was a picture just recently that circulated on social media about this lady having an interview. I think it was BBC or something like that, and she had a sex toy at the back. Does that count?
Oh, BBC Wales. Yeah, I saw that across.
Yeah.
For Karam, it counts, so we'll count it. Okay, so final question, an easy one. People say the Tech Talk show is lousy show and all these things, like lots of criticism going on. So what advice would you give Karam and me to improve this Tech Talk show?
And it's fine if you say drop one of the two hosts. It's fine if you say that.
No, actually, I think it's cool. I like the fact that it's light and easy, and you can just talk easy. Otherwise, I would be super nervous and probably can't utter a word here. I think it's cool.
His mistakenness for DJs from a light and easy radio show, but never mind. We'll keep that for that time. So, Indran, as we wrap up this your segment, we got to go to a new segment in a bit, and we'll get you back. But your final thoughts. I mean, what sort of advice would you give others contemplating? Entrepreneurship is not an easy journey. And like you said, we wanted to give up. And I myself, I think Karam's been in that position where, every couple of months or years or days, sometimes we are like, why am I doing this? And maybe I want to give up. Maybe I should just move on and or shut the door. What sort of advice would you give to our viewers out there to keep going forward and to continue persevering onwards?
Well, so you know how they say keep the end in mind, right? So you sort of need to have something that motivates you, which actually drives you to want to do this business in the first place. And one thing you should remember, right? It should not be about the money. Money is not a motivating factor. You see your hygiene theory and things like that. You manage people. It's not a motivating factor. You've got to want to find a way how you are helping the society. What are you doing to contribute back to help people? So
Right.
I think you got to find that as your starting reason, and then put that as the end, and then keep that in mind.
So there you got to use the circular economy tagline, man.
Yeah. That's definitely.
Raja, Raja's like, hey, nice show, man. Good guess, man. So
Thanks,
Raja,
Raja.
thanks for looks like you're getting some cheers and Indran, we will get you back in a bit. Karam and I are gonna just talk a little bit on some of the tech news that are out there, and we'll get you back towards the tail end. So Karam, it's been a very interesting week. Lots of crazy things. I mean, yesterday there was a big announcement that things will go back to normal on March 5th. So we say, conferences and MICE and everything is going to be allowed up to 250 people. That's what the latest circulars are going around. Talk to us on what's the latest and greatest in terms of some of the tech news that are out there, Karam. We quite a bit of things that are happening, right? And before you jump into that, we've got a question from Shaji who wants to know really your perspective on the article on Doc Siva's piece today in DNA. Maybe you can shed some light a bit on that piece, because Shaji says he can't wait for Karam to talk more. I know he's going to regret this, Shaji. You're going to regret it when you give Karam license to talk, but never mind. We'll give you 60 seconds to talk us through that piece, about whatever that piece that he's referencing there.
Yeah, no. Doc Siva has written a piece, like you said, right? Unicorn Nation, and then maybe your Shashi can pull that article up also on while I'm talking. Just so Siva has been in the startup ecosystem since 1998, I think. I met him in 1999 at a networking event in Cyberjaya. Okay, first time. So he's saying that after this 23 years of perspective, now he has written this article just yesterday. A few days ago, I published it this morning, part 1, yeah. And he says that he thinks that actually Malaysia can create and be a country for launching unicorns. But he says that, the government needs to do more to invest and bet on our own entrepreneurs also, because they've put money in, right? They've put in like 2 billion or whatever or 3 billion into MAVCAP. But that has been spread over many years. So you end up having a few 100 million a year. And then that money is divided with a few different partners, right? So that they can reach more companies. In the end, companies get 4 million, 5 million, maybe maximum 10 million. So the bets we are taking on entrepreneurs is too small, especially when they need follow-up funding. And that's why then the follow-up funding comes from Singapore, right? So you lose them to Singapore because they become a Singapore branded company. They may still be based in Malaysia running, but operational HQ and the branding becomes Singaporean. He's making the point today that, guys, government has to be a lot more aggressive. We've got to put more money in here because that helps so we don't lose entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And he went so bold as to say that the money government has given is chicken feed, which I maybe would have not have used, but I think Siva is at the point where he wants to be totally bold and aggressive and say, no, I want to say it as I say it. So he says it's chicken feed so far, right?
Okay.
So, and then also, he talks about, of course, Malaysia's market size is small. So he mentions that, Indonesia has got 2 or 3 unicorns because you serve one market of 200 and now it's 270 million. You can create a unicorn in one country, which is why Japan has its, China also has its, right? Indonesia has 3 because the population, Malaysia being at 32 million, too small, which means that, but Australia has 25 million. They've created 3 unicorns.
Yeah.
So the companies here must be creating a global solution. then you can help to scale, because then you can scale. So the 25 million limitation doesn't apply, but government has to be a big supporter of yours, and government and the agencies also have to support by using your products. Because if they do, there's no other way where you can achieve that scale and credibility when you go to another country. And he's talking about talent. One more. And he says talent. Look, we have good talent in Malaysia, but the talent is in the MNCs, and the talent ends up going to Singapore, where you straight away get $1 is $3 here, right? One Sing dollar is 3 ringgit. And good talent wants to go there because they earn more money. It's not that they don't love the country. They want to earn. At the beginning stage of your career, somebody's paying you that much, so you just go lah. So, but he says that we must be able to overcome these challenges because they are not new challenges, right? And because he said that, look, if entrepreneur is hiring mediocre talent, you're going to end up building a mediocre company. I wanted to reword the word mediocre. I wanted to put average, but Siva says mediocre. I said, let him have it, lah. I felt it's a bit harsh, because then everybody will say, your team will come to you and say, Roshan, we are mediocre talent, and somebody wants to take issue with you, right? But Siva has got the credibility to say that. So he's put it all together, and he gave the example of one of his startups, because he invests in startups also as an angel investor. They wanted to bring in somebody from Singapore, but the person was earning 10,000 Sing dollars. So that's 30,000 ringgit. And his company then could not afford to hire the person. So what do you do, right? So these are real challenges, but we have to overcome them, Siva says. And by the way, part 2 tomorrow, Saturday, he's going to talk about the challenge with our entrepreneurs also. He said even our entrepreneurs have a challenge. So he's not letting the entrepreneurs off the hook. So you can look out for part tomorrow, and we'll talk about it next week.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's very thought-provoking, and I think good conversations to have. And maybe we should bring him.
We're going to ask Indran.
Maybe next week we should debate with him, and maybe we can even get a conversation going, because I don't disagree. I kind of agree with some of the things that he's talking. Especially when it comes to talent, it's pretty much a complete correlation between the quality and.
Wow, you think so? Complete?
I think so. I mean, I'll go read more details, but I'm sure on this point at least we have some sort of agreement on. We talk about 5G coming to Malaysia.
Just quickly, because interesting enough, CS Chin from the SME Association Vice President also brought it up, right? So he mentioned that he was the OC for WCIT. So I worried that people did not understand. OC means Organizing Chairman, and WCIT is the World Congress of Information Technology. It is actually like the Olympics for the information technology world. It is a conference held every 2 years or 3 years around the world. Malaysia was supposed to host it last year. It's been postponed by 2 years to 2022. But he said that when they were planning it, the government told him that we would have 5G by last year, and that got delayed. But now suddenly the current government is bringing it forward, and they want to see a 4th quarter rollout. And the reason is because the foreign investment in Malaysia has dropped dramatically last year. The government feels like having strong 5G will be an added incentive for MNCs when they look at a few countries and they want to decide which countries metrics ticks the box, right? So that we can invest in them. So the idea is to make Malaysia more attractive. So let's get 5G on the ground by October, November, or December this year. That's why they're accelerating that. So there are there's some issues about that, because the way they're accelerating is they say, look, the government will own the company that has the spectrum and will invest to build out the 5G, and then it will lease capacity to all the licensed parties, so that they compete at the marketing level. You don't compete at the infrastructure level, which some people have issued. There's still a lot more to be unpacked here, and there's issues of corporate governance. One of the leading, most critical journalists in the country wrote a piece to say that I guarantee you the 15 billion they're going to spend for the next 10 years will balloon to 30 billion. There'll be plenty of corruption or
that's the worry, right? When you do something that is government, it's corruption, it's all these things start to seep in. I
don't think it'll be that bad, because my reason is Roshan, this is a product and a service that will touch every single Malaysian, and your customers are the telcos. If you end up giving them a subpar solution, which they then resell to you and me, when we have a bad experience, we're going to lambast the government.
But the problem is this: everybody's going to get subpar. So it's like because it's one guy holds the infrastructure, right? So if they sublease, every single telco will get subpar. And Malaysians, we are okay lah. I mean, whatever I go, there's it's like there's no option, and I think CS made a good point. He said, what about pace? 10 years, right? By the time it's 6G, 7G, I mean,
but that is correct, Roshan. But that's 10 years. Look, they're going to roll it out by Q4, assuming they execute it well. And then every progressive period, you will see it rolled out in more places. Actually, if we follow this timetable, within 5 years, we'll have nationwide 5G. You don't have to wait 10 years. But the investment has to be continual. So that's what it means. So because I speak to a lot of telco people, it won't be we'll have 5G in 5 years from now. We will have 5G this end of this year. It'll be big. It'll be for enterprises because the corporates will be the first users. And then they'll roll out to Klang Valley, to Bangsa, Damansara Heights, where you live. And then they'll gradually roll out, but it'll be faster because government says we want to accelerate the rollout. That's their rationale. Okay. There's a lot of pushback to that, but that's for another show, okay?
Yeah, and we can talk about this, because I like I said, I mean, in terms of execution, we are not the most known nation to be good at execution.
Yes, true.
And the last one I think we'll talk about is Endeavour. Fast from Fashion Valley is now on the board, and Adlin's taken over as MD. So some good changes at Endeavour.
Yeah.
Fast has been a big supporter. I think he and Vivi Yusof, his wife. I mean, they've been good people also, good entrepreneurs. So it'll be very interesting, I think, for Endeavour on that note. So, and that article is also on DNA. So with that, Karam, I've got a couple of comments coming in, and one of the things that's I think quite interesting. Let me bring Indran back to the show. Indran, you've got lots of interesting comments coming in of people who are actually renting your stuff. She rented a bouncy castle for her children, and that's from RentSmart. So there you go, the bouncy castles. Check out what Indran has to offer. And Kumaran says very happy to have RentSmart to rent a nice tent the last time, and very proud of it. So all these things that you probably use for one time can be rented instead of having to do that. And of course, I looks like our editor says, what a story. We hope it was camping before the pandemic. Well, you can still camp with the pandemic. Maybe safer actually, far away from everybody else. But that aside, Kumaran, really excellent to have you on the show. Karam, I don't know whether you want to wrap up with any final thoughts.
No. I want Indran's comments on Siva's article. So Indran, any key takeaways from you? Anything you disagree with or that resonates with you?
Oh yeah, I mean, in terms of funding talent, definitely it resonates with, I think, almost all entrepreneurs. We went through CGP. There's a whole bunch of us who went through CGP, Coach and Grow through by Profisio and all that. So we're facing similar challenges. Essentially, it's coming down to funding as well as one of the biggest challenges. What we are in the tech space, right? And we are trying to create disruptors to existing business models. So what do? We need to advertise on mediums that belong to Americans, and we pay them in US dollars.
Yes.
So what's our currency conversion? 4 times at least, right? And our earning power is probably 1-to-1, but our currency conversion is 1/4 of them. So what happens is, as entrepreneurs, as startups, right? If I have got 1,000 ringgit, I only can spend $250 on Google ads and Facebook ads, right?
Yeah.
Whereas somebody there has got 4 times more power, right? And it's of course, I can't, there's nothing much we can do about it.
True.
What makes it worse is we've got withholding tax that needs to sit on top of that. We've got to bear that, right? So these are things that I wish the government could do something about for startups, right? If you can't give us the money direct, find a way to reduce this cost for us.
Your cost per then, okay.
Yeah, I mean, this obviously the next cost is getting a place set up, getting a startup up and running. All these small costs, they all lead to one thing or another. Some people's average cost of customer acquisition is about $10, right? So if it's it's about $2,000 to set up your company, right? You know how many customers you could have acquired if there was some sort of a subsidy. So those are kind of things that these are small things that the government can do that they should be thinking about, and helping out SMEs, because we're all about digital disruptions, and we can't talk about digital disruptions, right? Non-digital disruptions, because the reality is the generation that's going to take over is the younger generations, and where are they? They're not on the billboards, and they're not looking up at the billboards. They're looking in their phones or their computers. So, I think that's this revolution is happening. We got to deal with it. We got to advertise on Google. We got to advertise on Facebook. But yes, Mr. Government, please help us out.
And don't worry, the government is going to build a Facebook for you, and like you said, they're going to get the Unicorn Nation all sorted out. So Karam, as Karam is like, what we say, using his beard as a contemplative tool, maybe we can close out this show with his final thoughts of what your key takeaways are for today, Karam.
I think from CS Chin, because I think I want to every week have at least a bit of a conversation around my digital blueprint, because it is super critical that it is done right. There are a lot of parts of it are still very loose. There are no benchmarks. So when there are no benchmarks, you cannot hold them to measure how did we do end of December, right? How are we? Next year, June, July. So we need those benchmarks. We need to ask government what are those. And then him talking about the fact that there was not enough consultation with the SME Association, which to me is jaw-dropping, right? How can PwC didn't engage with them beforehand? That's seriously, right? You look at that.
You need to overcome your PwC bashing thing. So let's get PwC and let's have a dialogue with them directly.
Correct.
Karam, this is the second week running PwC. Let me get to the bottom.
It is just the reality, right? Can you hear the SME Association say they were not intimately involved with this? And then also CS saying that they want more commitment from the government agencies, right? So people are passionate and determined. And he's asking for 2 ministers to be responsible, so that I guess the leadership can call and say, hey, we're not happy, your agency or whatever. Somebody must be held accountable where people can call them and get angry at them. And it's good that he's saying we should have 2 ministers. So I hope the government listens. You're going to be serious about strengthening our companies, right, and making Malaysia more attractive. Then you got to do this, right? It's hard work. Nobody says it's not hard work. They cannot think that just producing the blueprint is the hard work. Wow, very hard. Let's go for teh tarik now, man. That's okay now. Everybody can meet for teh tarik, 1 week from now.
We are a country known to love blueprints. Again, it goes back to the execution, right? Ultimately, it's about the capability to execute.
And then just quickly with Indran also, Indran, credit to you, because Indran said that, look, after about a year, they were not getting anywhere, right? 10, 12 insurance companies turned him down. The moment of truth for every entrepreneur, whether it comes after 18 months or 2 months or 8 months, he and his partner faced it, and they said, hey, no, we're going to keep persisting. And that shows tenacity and mental strength. Kudos to you. And also, you brought in a new co-founder, right, end of last year. And that's good for you, because he has built enough credibility in the product that he brought in a very good co-founder, I think, who's had experience doing something before. And you want to just mention his name on the show so people know who he is also?
So Deepan is the new co-founder for RentSmart. I mean, he's awesome because he's got huge amount of experience from some fintech experience, and also a huge marketplace veterans. So he's brilliant. It brings a real Deepan
Kannan, right? Because there are a lot of fellas from India listening in also. You better give the full name.
Deepan Kannan.
And he's not listening in for whatever reason, right? Okay, we gotta end the show. It's almost an hour plus. Saji says, get PwC here. So Patrick Tays and Salika Sutsawans and all these other guys, let's get there. Tess from Belgium says stakeholder management. So those are good things to close out the show. Thank you again, Indran. Appreciate your time being on the show. Karam, it's been another exciting show. We've had dialogues. We've given Indran some ideas, and hopefully you can get the PwC bashing out of the way next week. Shaji will be the first to line up the guns and the questions. With that, thank you everyone for watching a Tech Talk Friday. We're gonna close our show today. We've had CS Chin, and also we've had Indran from RentSmart on our show today. So goodbye, and we will end with a short little video on the Be A Later platform. And that's a wrap for us. See you next week, same time, same place, 6 p.m. Tech Talk Friday. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend.